Hello, it's time for my last quarterly favorites video of the year. I'm going to talk about my top 5 favorite books that I read in October through December, and I'm not going to talk about them necessarily in preference order, but I'll just talk about them merely in the order in which I read them. So first is Lost Stars by Claudia Gray. This is a Star Wars novel. It's starring childhood friends Sienna and Thane. They both love flying, and so they joined the academy together, but after that, their paths diverge as one of them becomes disillusioned with the Empire and the other remains behind out of a complicated duty. I love the moral ambiguity and complexity of the situations that they're in, whether they're fighting for the Empire or the Rebellion. I love Sienna and Thane as well-drawn characters. And as a bonus, their homeworld of Jellican, where Sienna and Thane grew up, that expands the Star Wars universe in an interesting way. We get this new world with interesting accompanying cultures on it. It's a really great book. I also want to share the book Null States by Malka. This is the follow-up to Infomocracy, so it's set in a world where we've moved away from nation-states and towards micro-democracy. There's also this global information super system in the world. The plot of Null States starts when there is a suspicious death of a political figure in a sentinel that is new to micro-democracy. And from there, it expands into seriously complicated political situations. I love that this book is one of the best sequels I have read. We get to explore new parts of the Infomocracy world. We get richly imagined politics in new settings in the world that we've already been introduced to, and it is done so well. Like, this book would already be great as a standalone, but it defies expectation as the sequel to the already fantastic Infomocracy. Moving along to another book that I just absolutely loved. It is Bitterblue by Kristin Cashore. So Bitterblue is the young queen of Monsi, a kingdom in the Grayson universe, and she comes of age around the same time that she comes to realize that she's not getting completely truthful information about her kingdom, and it's particularly stressful because her kingdom is suffering and she doesn't know what to do. They are living under the shadow of Bitterblue's father's reign. So he had mind-altering abilities, and he used those abilities to abuse and traumatize the kingdom for decades. So Bitterblue wants to seek the truth of what happened during her father's reign and also what is happening in her kingdom currently in order to help her kingdom heal. So I love how truly complex Bitterblue is as a character, and I love the whole cast of characters, really, many of which are familiar faces from the other Graceling Realm series books. Also, this book, it does such a magnificent job of telling a dark, painful story of abuse alongside a valuable story of recovery. So that's a really excellent book. Moving along to one book that I've been wanting to talk about for quite a while. It is The Hate You Give by Angie. Such a good book. It's about Star. She is a young woman who is living in a poor black neighborhood while attending school in a rich white neighborhood, and the central plot starts when Star witnesses the fatal shooting of her unarmed childhood best friend at the hands of a police officer. I love how important this story is. It explores in ways that touched my heart and mind that Black Lives Matter, and the storytelling quality of this is incredible. It is top-notch just writing. It is such a good book, and most of all, it's so powerfully, beautifully, painfully, and sometimes even funnily told. Last of all, I want to share another favorite book, which is City of Brass by Chakraborty, and this book is set in 18th century Cairo and also the legendary City of Brass, which is the home to many Jinn tribes. Nari, who is a con woman with healing powers, she is brought from Cairo to the City of Brass, and it means complicated things for the magical factions of the city and others, and it is also quite a new situation for Ali, who's a Jinn prince of the city. There's a lot of conflict in this, and our main characters are in persistent peril. The whole city is at risk mostly because of this long history of injustices on many sides. I love the rich history in this book. I love the gorgeous setting, and the conflicts and characters of this have really murky motives, which makes for like fascinating depths to the story. I even love the characters despite not being sure if I even like them. It's a really complex, rich book that really doesn't have any black and white. So those are some really wonderful books. I hope you enjoyed this roundup. Till next time, lovelies. P.S. As a last note for the year, in case you were wondering, my favorite book of all of 2017 is The Stone Sky by NK Jemisin.